Okay, we are live on this Friday afternoon here on the KGNS Digital News Desk. Thanks for watching. We are live to the KGNS website, live to the KGNS app, and we're live to our YouTube channel and our Facebook page this afternoon. A little after 10 o'clock this morning, we started getting calls from sources saying that Congressman Henry Cuellar for District 28, represents Laredo, was going to be turning himself in to a federal courthouse in Houston. Shortly after our sources started telling us this was going to happen, it was NBC News at about 10 o'clock this morning that released a story that said the Department of Justice was expected to announce the indictment of Texas Democratic Representative Henry Cuellar. That was according to their sources. And then after that, the Department of Justice released their press release with the allegations not only against Congressman Henry Cuellar, but against his wife as well, Imelda. And so this is obviously a huge story and a story that we are it's unfolding and it's developing. And so we're unpacking it for all of our later newscasts. Right now we're in between newscasts. Next newscast isn't until 5. That's why we're coming to you here. But we'll have coverage at actually 4:30 on Telemundo, 5 o'clock on KGNS and Telemundo, and then 6 and 10 on both. So we are following this story. We have obviously reached out to Congressman Henry Cuellar, and he has released a statement. And we are reaching out to other folks as well for some information as to, or maybe even just reaction. But I want to share the screen here. This is you can actually find this on the Department of Justice website, okay? And the headline on this press release, U.S. Congressman Henry Cuellar and his wife charged with bribery, unlawful foreign influence, and money laundering schemes. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but if you recall, this all started when they raided at his house, and it was related to him being, I forget what the official title was, but him dealing with the country of Azerbaijan, that is. So the indictment has been unsealed in the Southern District of Texas, and I'm reading the first paragraph, charging U.S. Congressman Henry Cuellar, or Enrique Roberto Henry Cuellar, and his wife, Imelda Cuellar, with participating in 2 schemes involving bribery, unlawful foreign influence, and money laundering. And they made their initial court appearance today before U.S. Magistrate Judge Dina Palermo in Houston. Let me just get this on the screen and then I will continue so that you know. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I'll go back to sharing the screen here as I read the story. According to court documents, beginning in at least December 2014 and continuing through at least November 2021, Congressman Cuellar and Imelda Cuellar allegedly accepted approximately $600,000 in bribes from 2 foreign entities, an oil and gas company wholly owned and controlled by the government of Azerbaijan, and a bank headquartered in Mexico City. The bribe payments were allegedly laundered pursuant to sham consulting contracts through a series of front companies and middlemen into shell companies owned by Imelda Cuellar, who performed little to no legitimate work under the contracts. In exchange for the bribes paid by the Azerbaijani oil and gas company, Congressman Cuellar allegedly agreed to use his office to influence U.S. foreign policy in favor of Azerbaijan. In exchange for the bribes paid by the Mexican bank, Congressman Cuellar allegedly agreed to influence legislative activity and to advise and pressure high-ranking U.S. executive branch officials regarding measures beneficial to the bank. They are each charged, both Congressman Cuellar and his wife, with the following offenses, and if convicted, face maximum penalties as indicated: 2 counts of conspiracy to commit bribery of a federal official and to have a public official act as an agent of a foreign principal, 5 years in prison on each count; 2 counts of bribery of a federal official, 15 years in prison on each count; 2 counts of conspiracy to commit honest services wire fraud, 20 years in prison on each count, 2 counts of violating the ban on public officials acting as agents of a foreign principal, 2 years in prison and on each count, 1 count of conspiracy to commit concealment money laundering, 20 years in prison, and 5 counts of money laundering, 20 years in prison on each count. And then it goes through the different, the deputy assistant, the principal deputy assistant attorney general, the head of the justice, all the people that were involved that made the announcement, and the FBI and the DOS OIG investigated the case. At the end, it does remind you that an indictment is merely an allegation. All defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. So, of course, we reached out to the Cuellar camp, and he has made at least, I think this is the one statement, and I'll read it verbatim. I read the whole indictment, so I might as well read Congressman Cuellar's statement. He says, "I want to be clear that both my wife and I are innocent of these allegations. Everything I have done in Congress has been to serve the people of South Texas. Before I took any action, I proactively sought legal advice from the House Ethics Committee, who gave me more than one written opinion, along with an additional opinion from a national law firm. The actions I took in Congress were consistent with the actions of many of my colleagues and in the interest of the American people. Furthermore, we requested a meeting with the Washington, D.C. prosecutors to explain the facts, and they refused to discuss the case with us or to hear our side." Again, this is Cuellar's statement coming from his attorneys. I continue. "Imelda and I have been married for 32 years. On top of being an amazing wife and mother, she's an accomplished businesswoman with two degrees. She spent her career working with banking, tax, and consulting. The allegation that she is anything but qualified and hardworking is both wrong and offensive. These allegations have been difficult on my family, but with your prayers, we will overcome. As a son of immigrant workers, I was taught to wake up early and work hard. That's exactly what I've always done for the people of South Texas. I've devoted my life's work to creating jobs here, improving education, and securing our border. Let me be clear, I'm running for re-election and will win this November." That's the end of the quote. And again, that is directly from Congressman Cuellar and his attorneys on this indictment. We have heard from, the Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, says Henry Cuellar has admirably, I can share the screen on this one, has admirably devoted his career to public service and is a valued member of the House Democratic Caucus. Like any American, Congressman Cuellar is entitled to his day in court and the presumption of innocence throughout the legal process. Pursuant to House Democratic Caucus Rule 24, Congressman Cuellar will take leave as ranking member of the Homeland Security Appropriations Subcommittee while this matter is ongoing. So he's taking leave from the Homeland Security Appropriations Subcommittee while this is going on. Again, we are sorry, I'm looking at some of the messages here to see if there's anything new. So again, Jeffries does not call on Cuellar to step down. He's saying he's going to step down from the Appropriations Committee. Going through this as we're live, so just bear with me. Again, we're working on this. It's a developing story. It's obviously huge news, as Congressman Cuellar mentioned himself. He is up for re-election. He does have an opponent on the Republican side, Lázaro Garza. And so there was a statement made, I don't know where I read, but someone was raising the question as to the timing of this indictment, making reference, of course, to the fact that it was so close to the election. Again, initially it was NBC who was reporting. Let's see here. So before the indictment was unsealed, Cuellar said, quote, "I want to be clear that both my wife and I are innocent of these allegations. Everything I've done, well, we read that, have been in service to the people of South Texas." Yeah, so he was obviously clear it was clear from the beginning that this was going to include his wife Imelda, and so obviously now we have heard that it does include his wife, and so he was making comments prior to the indictment being unsealed that made sources think that this was going to include Imelda, and indeed it did. So that's where we are now. Again, Cuellar is up for re-election. What happens from here, we'll have to wait and see. But as for today, our newsroom is working on getting follow-up to the story, obviously, and the latest developments. We're checking in with different stakeholders, party leaders, at least on the local level. We've heard from the minority leader, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and I'm sure there's going to be quite a few more people speaking out on both sides in regard to this indictment. So I don't know if you would like, while I close the page, let me see. So if you go to the U.S. Department of Justice and you go to their press releases, you will find the let me find it, and then I'll post it here on social media. Well, of course, now I can't find it. Well, that's interesting. I don't see it anymore, but I got it originally from the Department of Justice website. It was right there under their press releases, and now I don't see it. So I don't know if I'm just missing something because we're live, and obviously I can see it now, but I don't see it on that page anymore. So that's interesting. Associated Press already has a story out on it. All the major media outlets already have a story on it. So what can I say? Stay tuned. Definitely more to come on this story, and tune into our later newscasts on KGNS and Telemundo. We will have coverage at 4:35, 6 o'clock, and 10, all live, both in English and Spanish, on simultaneously from our studios here on Bob Bullock. Okay, just wanted to come in with that, and the indictment has been unsealed. All of the rumors we were hearing about him turning himself in to federal custody were true. And so now we follow up, and we'll have all that for you in the later newscasts. And then we'll, of course, continue to follow this story as it is huge. So have a blessed rest of your Friday, and stay tuned to KGNS and Telemundo.